Hello vinyl community, this is Matt again, and well, first things first, I bet you didn't know that I wear glasses, but I do when I'm driving. I don't need them for things that are close up, but I do have a restriction on my license that says I have to wear glasses when I'm driving, so here they are. Right now I'm on my way to a couple of thrift stores, just kind of continuing the motif from my previous video about thrifting. Today I will be going to a Savers and a Goodwill. I may hit up one or two more stores, it just depends. Depends on if I find anything, depends what I feel like. More often than not, I will leave empty-handed from a thrift store, it just depends. But you know, it's just the way it goes when thrifting. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. The best day for thrifting is usually a Saturday or a Sunday. The worst day tends to be a Friday. And that's because, you know, people bring their stuff to donate over the weekend, but by the end of the week, by Friday, usually the stores have run out. You know, they've sold all the good stuff, all of the stuff that came in from the previous weekend. So yeah, this particular Savers that I'm going to, it's the only one that's anywhere close to me. There are quite a lot of Goodwills dotted around, but this is the only Savers. And I've never had a super amount of good luck there. You know, I've bought the odd thing from time to time. I've had better luck with CDs there. I've found quite a number of CDs. I've even found one or two Beatles CDs there, which is a little bit surprising. It seems that nowadays anything with the word Beatles on it immediately gets either snapped up right away, or in the case of Goodwill, they don't even put it out for sale. They stick it straight onto their auction website. And the Goodwill that I'm going to after the Savers, I have had better luck at that place before, but it's also been really hit or miss. And I've got there before, probably shortly after they put out a pretty big lot of records, and I did end up buying I don't know, 8, 9, 10 of them, something like that. It was probably about the best score that I've had there. I'm trying to think what I got. I remember there was like the Grease soundtrack was one of the records. I think I got a couple of Elvis records from there too. And so yeah, it's been okay, but only just okay. There's been other times I've gone in and they've literally had 0 records, none whatsoever. But I'll know that they've done something with them. You know, it's not like somebody's gone in and bought them, or they didn't have a mass panic on Lawrence Welk or Helen Reddy buyers, you know. So, you know, like I've gone in there the week before, they've had, you know, 150 records set out in boxes. You go back the next Saturday and every single record's gone. No, come on. They either dumped them, or they gave them to another Goodwill store, or they stuck them on the auction website. So we'll see how lucky we get today with this. Right now I'm about 5 or 10 minutes out from both the stores. Well, the Savers is the closer one, but they're both pretty close to each other. I may go to a record store after that if I strike out, which there's a pretty good possibility of striking out. You know, it is what it is, but that's the nature of thrifting. You know, once you've been thrifting for even a short period of time, you start to realize that, gee, there's it seems to be more often than not that I'm leaving empty-handed, and you have to be prepared to do that. You have to go in with the mindset that, okay, I'm probably not going to find anything, but I'm going to go in anyway just in case, because I might do. You know, I just might find not necessarily like a kind of a holy grail record, but at least something that's a really good score. You know, I mean, if I want to find good stuff, I'll just go to the record store, of course, but that's not what it's about with thrifting. Thrift stores, it's more about the thrill of the hunt, the thrill of the unknown. You know, you go in not knowing for sure if they're going to have anything good, if they'll have anything at all, actually, for that matter. One good thing about Savers is that their records are cheap. I think they're 99 cents each, which isn't bad, especially for Southern California. The kind of default minimum price for vinyl in Goodwill is $1.99, and that's a minimum. And I've actually found that some Goodwills have started jacking up the prices quite considerably, and it really to the point where it's made it worth not even going in. So I'll give some examples. I think I've been in, I don't know, 3 or 4 Goodwills that have started putting their prices up from the default kind of $1.99 minimum. So now they're either $2.99 or $3.99 minimum. Doesn't matter what the record is, that's the price, and it's crazy. I think, okay, I know that Goodwill is supposed to be non-profit. Okay. But at the same time, people don't go in there expecting to spend that kind of money on an old record. They really don't. But of course, what's happened is that the managers at these Goodwills, and they're probably all franchise, would be my guess, just because the prices are all over the map right now. So they're essentially independently owned, but run under the Goodwill franchise. What I found is that a lot of the managers are kind of jumping on the vinyl bandwagon. They've realized that, oh hey, vinyl's kind of back in right now. It's getting big again, so the demand must be there. Let's jack up the prices. The worst case that I found was a Goodwill that's fairly close to where I work. I work about 30 miles from where I live, and I'd never had any amazing scores there before, but I'd had 1 or 2 reasonable buys, nothing superb, but enough to make it worth going in still every so often just to check. And I go in there this one time, this was a few months ago, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this? Literally every record, I think, was $3.99 or up. Didn't matter what it is, or what it was rather. Didn't matter how crappy the record was, who the artist was, what condition it was in. In fact, because $3.99 was the minimum, if anything, the prices were even higher if it was an artist that they thought had any kind of any value, So what I found in there was that I couldn't believe this. They had Herb Alpert Whipped Cream, which was a record at the time I actually was, when I say I wanted it, I mean I wasn't like desperate for it, but I thought, if I found it at a decent price for like $1 or something, then I get it, right? And it would have to be in excellent condition, of course, because it's probably the most common thrift store record that you'll find. You won't have to be thrifting for very long and you'll find dozens of these. I mean, Herb Alpert must have made an absolute fortune back in the day. I mean, he apparently sold millions and millions of these records. But it's actually not a bad album, so, I kind of thought, okay, if I stumble across it, I'll pick it up, whatever. Well, they had whipped cream in this Goodwill near where I work, and they wanted $7 for it. I couldn't believe it, and it was sort of in average condition. In fact, I didn't even check the condition of the record. I just couldn't believe it. $7 for the most common record you'll ever find in a thrift store. And I thought, these guys, they're either ignorant or they're trying to rip people off. I don't know which it is. So I haven't been back. No, you know what? I tell a lie. I have been back there once, just out of morbid curiosity, because I still. It's hard to get out of the mindset that you might still find a little bit of a bargain. I thought, okay, even if I find something that's $4, $5, $6, it could be a bargain if it's worth 30 or 40, right? But no, there's nothing. So I have been back in there once since, but yeah, found absolutely nothing at all. Nothing. And I've come across 1 or 2 other Goodwills like that too. That was the worst one. That was the extreme. But I have found, like I said, 1 or 2 others where they've started putting the prices up now, like $3, $4, really for all of their records, and it's just not worth it. I mean, I figure, why would I bother? You'll either go to a record store or you'll buy online, right? I mean, what's the point? So so we're just pulling up at the Savers here. I just got to find a place to park, and then we're going to go in and see what we can see. Again, I'm not overly optimistic. I came in here last week anyway. I think I did buy something last week. I picked up that Glenn Campbell album, which I already had, which is a Lyman, but it was an upgrade copy. The one I had a pretty major skip in it. So, yeah. So, I'm going to detach the phone right here. There we go. Cool. And, yeah, let's go in. Let's go in and take a look. Okay, so I just got out of the Savers, and I didn't film in there. I was going to, but it was so crowded. People were, throwing elbows and pushing and shoving, and it would have just been too much of a hassle. It gets really crowded. The records are right by the entrance on the left, and so and they're also right by the CDs and the DVDs, and there's a whole book section there. So everyone kind of goes to that section first, and they all congregate there, and shoving each other out of the way, and it just wasn't worth it. But I struck out on the vinyl as predicted, but I did get a few other things actually. I got a few cassettes, some reasonable finds here actually. We got Elvis Pure Gold. I don't have any Elvis cassettes. Well, I do now. And it's just sort of a greatest hits. It's got like All Shook Up, Jailhouse Rock. Let's see what else. Love Me Tender. So, pretty decent. We also got the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. And I was pretty pleased with that, I guess. I mean, I don't have it on vinyl or CD or anything. I do have both She's Like the Wind and I've Had the Time of My Life on single. I don't think I have any of the other songs on here though. And finally, the best find was Michael Jackson, Bad. Again, this one I do have on vinyl. I have the album of this, but I don't have it on any other format. Seems to be in pretty good condition. When I was a kid, I had this on cassette, so yeah, I was kind of pleased to find it. They did have Thriller as well, but Thriller, the tape wasn't in great condition. It was really dirty, and the pad in the middle, that was all broken up and crappy, and I just thought, that's too bad, because I wouldn't have minded, getting both Bad and Thriller would have been a pretty reasonable score, but I'm happy with just this. It's not a bad find at all. I also got 3 CDs. Aerosmith, big ones, greatest hits album. I used to have this many years ago, probably around 20 years ago, and I haven't had it since. And yeah, you don't pass up an Aerosmith CD, I think, especially as like I said before, Savers are pretty cheap when it comes to audio stuff. Next up we have Ace of Base, greatest hits. This is the first and only Ace of Base album of any description that I have. I don't have any singles of theirs, don't have any CDs, any records, any cassettes. And yeah, of course it's got all the classic hits, All That She Wants, The Sign, Beautiful Life, Cruel Summer, etc., etc. And finally I got Take That, the Ultimate Collection. Take That, of course, were a British boy band. Actually, I say were, I shouldn't use the past tense, are a British boy band. They got back together again in the mid-2000s. Originally, of course, Gary Barlow, Robbie Williams, and 3 others. I think there were 5 of them altogether. Yeah, 5. There's 5 guys in the front. I'm not like, they're a boy band, kind of take it or leave it to a certain extent. But it's a greatest hits album, and I do like some of those songs, especially Back for Good, which is a really good song. I do already have another album of theirs, Nobody Else, which has Back for Good on it. But this has got a bunch of other songs on it too. A lot of the hits, like Relight My Fire, and Everything Changes, and Never Forget, and like he does in other tracks as well. So in total, this cost me, here's the magic receipt. Let's see. It was $9.35. That was with a 30% discount. I have several actually coupons for Savers. If you donate stuff, they give you a discount card. It's usually 30% if you donate, a decent item or enough items. And so I figured I'd use one of them today. And yeah, not bad for. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. I got one other thing as well for my $9.35. Okay, a book, Beatles versus Stones. I thought this was kind of a nice find, but I'm also intrigued by it because it says on the back, the story of the greatest rivalry in rock. And that interests me because the Beatles and the Stones were actually known to be quite friendly towards one another. And I think any rivalry was largely whipped up by the press at the time. I don't know that they themselves really thought of one another as huge rivals, not in the way the press and the public did. Of course, it's well known that the Beatles gave the Stones their first hit It's All Over Now. That was written by Lennon and McCartney, and I think that was the song that John Lennon once joked about. He was asked about, you know, writing stuff for the Stones or something, and he had said, well, we didn't want to give them anything good, you know. It's actually an okay song. It was, I think I'm right in saying it was the Stones' first hit. So yeah, so not bad. $9.35. No vinyl, but a few cassettes, a few CDs, a book about the Beatles and the Stones. Not too shabby. So I'm gonna go onto the Goodwill now, and we'll see what we get. It's about 5 minutes away, so I'll shut the camera off, and I'll be back once I've been in there. We'll see what we get. Okay, so I did show you a quick little video of me looking through the records there, not a whole lot. I did find 12-inch version of Kiss Me by Stephen Tintin Duffy. Probably those in the UK will have heard of this. This was a hit in, I think it was 1985. I don't see the date on it immediately, but you know, it's in pretty solid VG Plus condition, a little bit of ring wear, but the record itself is pretty good. Plus it's red tag, so even though it has the apparently now default $2.99 Goodwill price on it, it was actually $1.50. Now I switched the video off, and then right after I did that, I found just a little stack of singles over by the CDs. I know I overpaid for these. I know, but it's so unusual to find 80s singles in a Goodwill that I thought, screw it. I know I'm paying double what these are worth, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So we have The Assembly, Never Never, 1983. We have Howard Jones, What Is Love? And finally, this was an interesting find, Making Your Mind Up by Box Fizz. Really surprised to find it here in the US. I don't know if it was a hit here. This, of course, was the UK's entry into the Eurovision Song Contest in 1981. In fact, you can even see on the sleeve, it tells us all about it. And it won the contest and really launched Box Fizz. And for a few years, they were pretty big in the UK. Now, I'm trying to see if this is a US pressing. It does have the Duke cutout, but that doesn't necessarily mean for sure that it's not a UK pressing. Let's see, I'm trying to see where it says it was made. I don't think it says. So, maybe it was released in the US. It's entirely possible. The thing that surprised me most, though, was that if this is a US pressing, nobody here knows what the heck the Eurovision Song Contest is, so it's a little bit strange to advertise that as like a selling point. Anyway, these were $3 each, same price as all the other records, which I know it's like I said, it's like double what they're worth. But I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna pay the money because I wanted the records. In one sense, it's only a bargain if you would have bought the records anyway, and I wouldn't have bought them for a higher price, it's true. $2.99 was really on the high end of what I would have paid. Very much on the high end. But it's okay, so I ended up spending like $10 total. Yeah, like $10.50 I guess with the Stephen Tintin Duffy 12-inch. So, I'm not too disappointed with that. For that Goodwill, which again has been really hit and miss in the past. I've had some luck occasionally, but for the most part I tend to strike out there, and it looks like they're putting their prices up too. So that could be kind of the last hurrah for me with that Goodwill. It might just be that I'll check in very occasionally to see if they have anything. I used to go in quite often, but again it seems like more and more Goodwills are jacking up the prices. And the worst that I saw, aside from the $7 Herb Alpert situation, was another Goodwill where they had an NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. I looked at their records and I was leaving the store, and as you leave the store you go by like the glass cabinet near the front where they have the cash registers and so on, where you check out, and inside the glass cabinet, which is supposed to contain the valuable items, they had an NES. Out of curiosity, I got in closer and peered at it. I just wanted to see what the price was. I couldn't believe it. $200. I'm not even kidding. And I was thinking, well, I mean, is this thing like mint in the box or something? And am I missing? So I didn't see any box, so I don't think so. I'm sure they would have advertised that. But no, it's you know what it was? I bet it was with all the excitement about the NES Classic. Some Goodwill manager thought to himself or herself, hey, you know what? We can make a quick buck off of this. We're going to stick this at $200 and some sucker will buy it. And maybe they thought that about these singles. They thought, hey, we're going to put these at $3, the same price as the 12 inches, and some sucker will buy them. And here we are. Maybe that sucker is me. But these are again, these are singles that I wouldn't mind having anyway. So overpaying, yes, a little bit, sure. But it wasn't too outrageous. They did have some other singles. They had Madonna, Live to Tell, but I already had the her self-titled album that has that on there, so I didn't bother with it, especially not for $3. I mean, if it had been 50 cents or something, I would have picked it up. But they had let's see, the Grease Mega Mix. You're the one that I want, but I have the Grease soundtrack, so it didn't seem worth getting that either. Let's see. They had Irene Cara, Flashdance. They had one or two other songs by her too. So not a bad little stack of 80s. They had like a dozen singles there. Not too bad. So I don't think I'm going to go to the record store. If I completely struck out at both Goodwill and Savers, I probably would have done, but not bad, you know. We got a 12-inch single, 3 7-inch singles, 3 cassettes, 3 CDs, and 1 book. Not bad for an afternoon's work. In fact, I've only been out like an hour, so it's, you know, not even an afternoon. All right, thanks guys for watching. If you'd like to subscribe, please go ahead. Thanks for all the messages that you keep leaving too. Thank you.